Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 9th, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 102. My name is Chris.
And I'm Angela.
Hey, Angela. Good morning to your face.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
I am about to sneeze.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Did you want to maybe do that before we started the show?
Well, it's tickling, but I think I've got it under control.
Just think of all that bacon that's waiting for you after the show, right? Hey, let's bring in the Mumble Room because we've got a lot to cover today. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Greetings.
Morning. Hello.
Oh my gosh, I love you guys.
So we're going to start, our first story this week was submitted in over the subreddit. Gosh, I'm such a jerk. I should have got this. I wanted to start with one of our highest voted stories over the weekend in the Tech Talk Today subreddit. And so I will give props to Jazzin128, who submitted the Chaos Computer Club websites are now being blocked by the UK porn filters.
What?
Yeah, so this is one of these. This is a great example of when something starts to protect the children, right? Porn filters, on by default, you can opt out of them in the UK. It's something that a lot of the commercial big ISPs came together on. And they've even said, I think it was David Cameron even, who said, well, if husbands or wives want to turn off this porn filter, we want them to have that conversation in the family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
that
so,
is
of course, over time, it's expanded now to include all kinds of things, like now the Chaos Computer Club, which is just on itself, it's a historical piece now of the technology industry, and it's kind of ridiculous to block access to things like this, regardless of if it was Chaos Computer Club or even the Pirate Bay. Is anybody in the chat in the Mumble Room affected by something like this?
No, but I think I might know what the problem is. It's the ISPs not knowing what they're blocking, because I remember they used to block jQuery with the filters.
But how does it even get on the list? Who's making...
It's accidentally linked to something that is known to do with porn or dangerous stuff. If it's Sky, it's one of their anti-dangerous stuff filters.
Does it make you fry any conspiracy bacon? Now, I hate to imply that perhaps you would be of the conspirator type, and I don't mean to draw you into my crazy conspiracies, but does it make you a little suspicious that this happened when they're trying to book tickets to an event, like kind of a big important event for the Chaos Computer Club, and then all of a sudden the filters kick in and now people can't go buy tickets?
No, it's the tickets aren't not the tickets. The filters aren't really as far as I know, aren't really set by the government. They're done by the ISPs who are really terrible at doing it.
Yeah. I don't mean to imply that the government is. It is ISPs, but somebody is pushing it forward. Q Collective, what's your solution for this kind of problem?
Well, this is why a VPN connection should be considered a standard part of your internet connection, basically.
Yeah, I guess, and I think the more users using VPN, the better, because then it doesn't look as suspicious. That's my take on it. Angie, any thoughts before we move on?
Nope.
All right, then there's something brewing that I want you to give me some insights on.
Yeah.
Think about this. Big picture stuff, Ange. YouTube is getting aggressive. Be aggressive. This is kind of nuts, and I didn't even hear about this competition until the Wall Street Journal ran this piece, but Facebook and a video startup called Vessel. You heard of this?
No. Not at all.
Among others, are trying to go out and grab a bunch of the big YouTube stars right out from underneath the Googs.
Wow.
Yeah, this is according to people familiar with the discussions, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, here's the controversy. Google's not taking it lying down. No, the Googs is now offering some of its top video makers bonuses, hush on the down low, if they sign multi-year deals in which they agree to post content exclusively on YouTube for a little while. The bonuses will be tied to how well the videos perform. But YouTube is said to be making a wide range of counter-offers to rivals, including kinds of like a tiered payment system. For several months, YouTube has also been offering funding additional programming for some of its video makers to help them invest in new shows without a lot of the cost burden. YouTube executives are particularly concerned about Vessel, which I'm not even familiar with. They say that we don't know any information about it yet, but Vessel has been making some big offers, including offering to prepay YouTube content providers based on how they did on YouTube. So come over to Vessel.
Wow.
We don't even care how you'll perform. We'll pay you based on how you performed while you're on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah. It sounds like this. I think the reason why I kind of find this fascinating is watching our kids. To me, YouTube is like the next cable TV.
Yeah.
It is so the next cable TV in all of its glory. And so, and I think Google knows it.
That's interesting that they say that they're particularly concerned about a competitor. It seems anti-Google to be concerned about competitors.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems weird. Google's so big and YouTube is so established.
Yeah, I do
You know,
agree.
Vimeo isn't taking the place, and I don't even know some of the other alternatives.
Yeah, and I know like with Vessel, like part of it is they have like 75 million in venture capital,
Oh.
according to Crunchbase. So you know, they've got the money to throw around, and I think too, YouTube is maybe in sort of a vulnerable position where people have really woken up to the fact that it's not really a good deal. Like
what,
YouTube,
the ad revenue?
the ad revenue is not
Yeah,
that
it
good
is
of a
a
deal.
joke.
And you know, Google will just change out the whole comment system and totally impact the way your
Well,
community
that's
interacts
true.
with
They
you.
have made a couple major.
And
douche
Google seems to
moves.
flip-flop, like all of a sudden they're all about big mainstream live concert content with
Oh,
Gwen
yeah.
Stefani, and then all of a sudden they're all about the independent broadcaster and they just want to work with you, and it's like they're just all over the map and they can't seem to stay committed, and they don't. And so I think content producers, people like us who look at this, like we made the decision a long time ago, we would never make YouTube our primary distribution platform.
Ever.
No, never.
Or income.
And we're not even getting into all of the constant content disputes that we get into that are
Yeah.
totally illegitimate.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I think a lot of content creators are looking at this going, well, I can go over here and get away from Googs. I can make the same amount of money. And here's the other
Or more.
thing. This is just the final point is, and this is according to the Wall Street Journal, that when Vessel and some of these other companies are talking to these YouTube content creators, they're saying, well, look. And this is one of them that they've been courting, this Michelle Phan. Have you seen her?
Mm-mm.
I guess she's so big on YouTube, she even has like her own makeup line now.
Huh.
Yeah. And so they've been talking to her. And one of their pitches to her is not only will you make potentially more money, but you won't be around all the riffraff,
Yeah.
right? It's just all high quality content stuff. And you'll be next to other high quality content stuff. They're not going to watch yours and then see some video about a guy getting hit in the balls. And they're like, oh, well, I kind of like that.
So
you
they
know?
screen content and only allow certain people in it?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to be publishing videos on the Jupiter Broadcasting website in HTML5. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, good news, everybody. Fedora 21 is out today. Here it is. Tuesday, December 9th, 2014.
How often do they release?
Well, this was a much longer than normal release. They are going back to a 6-month release cycle. But
Okay.
this was a big one. And the reason why it was so big is they are kind of structuring the way they do the project. They've now breaking it out into several different spins. They've got Workstation, Cloud, and the Core, I think. And they go to getfedora.org to grab the ISO. We're going to have Matthew Miller, I think is his last name, on Linux Unplugged today to talk about the release of Fedora 21.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anybody in the mum room trying it out yet?
No, still working with the new SUSE.
I have it installed on one machine.
I
And
play with the beta. That's about it.
what'd you think?
It's actually pretty good. The separation is what I like the most because I don't like having all this. Like, you used to have where the server and workstation were together, and I didn't really
Yes, right,
want
right.
like 60% of the packages.
Yeah, server, cloud, and workstation. That's right.
Blue Phoenix has F21 in VirtualBox right now.
Nice, Blue Phoenix. I found it to be really snappy. Now, some of the problems I had where I couldn't install some of the proprietary garbage I wanted because the 21 repo wasn't ready yet. So now I'm really going to give it a go. All right, so we got to get into the Sony stuff while I still have my voice because this cold is. It's only a problem when I'm talking. Which
That's what she said. That's a great one, I know.
That's a good one. All right. So we got to talk about Sony Pictures because we've been following this train wreck since it started. When it was just a wee post on Reddit from a friend of a friend that worked at Sony. I like this Kashmir Hill piece. Kashmir Hill has been on Plan B before. She's real sharp.
Okay.
I've followed her for a long time. She's writing over at fusion.net now. And she says that the hack was a long time coming, at least from former employees. Sony's information security team is a complete joke, one former employee told Kashmir. We'd report security violations to them, and our repeated reports would be ignored. For example, one of our Central European website managers hired a company to run a contest, put it up on the TV's network website, and was collecting personally identified information without even encrypting it. A hack of our file server about a year ago turned out to be another employee in Europe who just left himself logged into the network in a cafe. The
geez.
information
Really?
security... Go ahead.
I mean, really? Seriously?
I know.
Why would you leave yourself logged Why would he even log in from the cafe?
Why
would
didn't
he
they
even
have it
allow that?
expire, right? And yeah. So they also, here's some information. Some of this is coming from the leaked information. Some of this is coming from employee quotes. I'll try to differentiate as I can. The information security team is a relatively tiny one. One company roster in the leaked files lists nearly 7,000 employees at Sony Pictures Entertainment. Just 11 people are assigned to the heavy information security team. 3 information security analysts are overseen by 3 managers.
Oh my gosh.
3 directors, 1 executive director, and 1 senior vice president.
Wow.
Can you imagine how crippling that is?
There's 3 lackeys and the rest are management.
Anybody who's been in a company can imagine how crippling that would be.
And I don't mean lackeys as a derogatory statement. I just mean like they're not given a title of management of any kind.
Another former employee of Sony says the company did risk assessments, and I read this next paragraph to you. I have seen this happen myself in business. Check this out.
Okay.
They did these vulnerability assessments. They failed to act on the advice that came on them. They said the real problem was there was no investment or real understanding of what information security is, said the former employee. One issue that was evident by the leak is that sensitive files on the Sony Pictures network were not encrypted. But here's the best part, and I've witnessed this. Sony Pictures said before its information, the big hack, this was 7 years ago, back in 2007, Jason Spaltro, how do you think you say that, Ann? Spaltro? He was the executive director of information security at Sony Pictures Entertainment, and he's actually still working there now. Get this, though. When he was talking to CIO Magazine, he said, it's a valid business decision to accept the risk of a security breach, and that he wouldn't invest $10 million to avoid $1 million in loss.
Yep. And that there was good enough security.
So we've all seen this because it's like, well, why would I spend time? But of course, he doesn't think about the brand impact. He doesn't think about the impact to all the customers, the trust loss, any of that. But I've been in situations where they've been like, well, it's cheaper for us to fail and then replace it than to replace it before it dies or something like that.
Right.
But they're failing on the level that they store passes in a TXT file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you say that guy's last name?
Spaltro.
Spaltro. He, by the way, he's still overseeing data security at Sony. He's now the senior vice president of information security, and according to leaked documents, he's got a salary of $300,000. And in these leaked documents, if he gets his bonuses for this year, he'll get $400,000.
I don't think he's getting his bonuses.
I don't think he's gonna get his bonus either. What a dick!
But, he can write off the those intangibles. So it'd be interesting to look at next year's SEC filings to see how much of a write-down they took or a tax deduction they took on the loss of, was it goodwill? That's my favorite one, is thwarted goodwill.
Yeah.
Yeah, write it off.
Or any credit monitoring they'll have to pay for, anything like that. Sony, so also in the show notes, just because I'm losing my voice, but you can go read it. You probably heard it over the weekend, though. Sony described the attacks as unprecedented. They now have Mandiant on board. Mandiant is saying that it's almost impossible for them to be able to detect the type of malware. Sure. I don't know about that. The hack has been traced also to a 4.5 rated star hotel in Bangkok, where it costs $40 per night. That's where they believe the hack originated from, to Sony Pictures in Bangkok. And there was, you just heard us mention it, thousands of passwords in a folder named Password. 47,000 employees and actors, including Sylvester Stallone, social security numbers were leaked. We also saw the aliases of many of the celebrities that they go by, like so they can talk to them internally. People don't know. Like the only one that I remember, because they all really sucked, except for one.
What?
Jessica Alba, her alias, Cash Money.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, that's her. Like they refer to her as Cash Money, so that way you know they're talking about Jessica Alba.
That's great.
That was in the leaked documents.
So that is what Chris wanted to name our first child.
Yeah, except for our last name isn't Money, so it wasn't going to really work.
Yeah.
But I did, yeah. There's also a file in the password directory, which includes 139 Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, zip files, PDFs, containing thousands of passwords to Sony Pictures' internal computers, social media accounts, and web service accounts.
Jeez.
Last Sony headline, then we'll move on. The DOJ is launching a new cybercrime unit, and one of the first things they're going to look into is the Sony Pictures situation.
Huh.
And Mandiant is directly investigating the Korean leak. We'll see. Hey, Andrews.
Hey.
Before we get out of here, I don't know. This Sony story to me is just getting so crazy now. We'll just continue to kind of track it.
Yep.
Mumble Room, anything before we shift out of the Sony story?
It's just weird having the government
Yeah.
involved in kind of a pseudo-military way with a business issue. It's just kind of creepy.
Yeah, and of course, that might be one of the reasons why it's so quickly linked to a state activity, even though there's a legitimate strain of security researchers who think it's an internal job. They think it was something a disgruntled employee did or somebody connected internally. But if you quickly link it to a state issue, then it makes it much easier for the government to step in. And this is an important area for the government right now.
Hey, Tech Dog, can you say the value of this is negative?
And the value of this is negative.
He sounds a lot like Arvis.
It's negative in the freedom dimension.
Well, I picked up, I'm at the beginnings of a chest cold. I got the idea from Chris and thought I'd give it a shot, apparently.
Good, nice. I'm glad.
And the value of this is negative.
All right, so, Andrews, before we get out of here, somebody emailed us today at jupiterbroadcasting.com. In fact, it was Patrick. What do you have to say?
Patrick said, I am dyslexic and I recently saw something about font types for people with dyslexia that could help them. So I went and looked on the interwebs to see if I could find anything, and lo and behold, I found an open source font type which collaborates with dyslexic people to
Whoa, sorry. I was having my mouse freak out.
to Diflope, Difelope, this font type and make it effective. Thought you might want to share this with the viewers because dyslexia affects more people than you might realize, and that is true.
Yeah, sorry, I was messing with your thing.
Yeah.
It is good. Mumble Room, anybody in the Mumble Room have any thoughts on this before I mention something?
I'm going to say also the other font open dyslexic.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yep. That's just what I was going to say. In fact, hopefully you'll forgive me, but I think I'm going to repeat that in the Linux Action Show on Sunday. Make it something I spotlight because I don't think a lot of people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have used it because I've suspected I have dyslexia. So that's why I prefer to have you read the email.
Yeah.
So in Instapaper, I take really long articles from the web and I save them to my Instapaper account. And then Instapaper allows me to use the Open Dyslexia font.
Nice.
And I do find it easier to read.
Huh.
I don't know if I'm dyslexic, but I find it easier to read that.
I just do numbers backwards for some reason.
And coordinates, north, south.
No.
Okay.
I think it's just because the fonts are weighted. It's generally easier for anyone to read a weighted font.
Yeah, that might just be what it is.
Yeah.
Because exactly. And for me, it's if I'm using that, I'm on my tablet, I'm laid back. I want it to be a nice, comfortable read experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my secret sauce. Hey, before we go, I want to mention another secret sauce.
Wow.
Patreon.com/today. 420 patrons. That is awesome.
That is great.
Yeah, in fact, I think we should make a video for them before you go today.
Okay.
Something quick?
Yeah.
All right. So, and I was just saying to the live stream that in the future, I will have the ability to potentially, depending on how our Wi-Fi works, have a camera in the kitchen when I'm making bacon. And I'm gonna do a video about that and post it to the Patreon page.
Cam.
The bacon cam, yep. So it's gonna require some upgrades in studio.
You know, what'd be funny is like if the patrons log into their account and like they see a video every time you make bacon, and it's like,
no.
dude, you made bacon 4 times today.
No.
I see a new show happening here.
And
You could do scratch and sniff Jupiter Broadcasting stickers.
Well, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to technically pull it off in a Patreon video. And speaking of that, I have an open thread. You don't have to be even a patron. Just go over to patreon.com/today and click on the activity feed, a behind-the-scenes thread of things you'd like to know about, and I'll be answering some of them with a video response and posting those as patron videos.
Great.
Yeah, and then also one last thing that's going to be coming exclusively to the Tech Talk Today patrons. Well, not, I guess exclusive, like semi-exclusive. Monday the 15th, next Monday, we're going to do a Jupiter Broadcasting Developers Conference on Mumble. And we're going to talk about some of the plans we have for the Jupiter Broadcasting website in 2015, some of the things developers would like to see, like an API, maybe something in JSON. And we're going to have a sort of a collaboration summit, and we're going to make a recording of that available to the Jupiter Broadcasting Developers IRC channel and to our Tech Talk Today patrons if you want to sit in on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either attend live on the 15th after Coda Radio, or you can just catch it on the Patreon Today activity feed.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody who supports it. Your funding there goes into making our network even better. Patreon.com/today. One last thing, you don't even have to be a big Tech Talk Today fan. You could just go there to read some stories, but it does help make our show better. TechTalkToday.reddit.com. And There's a couple of things in there I pulled from. It was actually very handy doing the show now on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the subreddit to see what people are looking at over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the voting really helps. Like, voting over the weekend, like, was a really helpful thing. Like, that's the computer chaos story. Like, I didn't even really know that was a story, but the subreddit over at techtalktoday.reddit.com is what put it in front of my face. And it's good to talk about something that's not U.S.-centric.
Yep.
So anyways, thanks for helping make it a better show. Also joining us live Tuesday through Friday, jblive.tv, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, just like our awesome Mumble Room did. Thanks, guys. We're going to leave you now.
Don't worry.
Thank you for being here. And we're going to go with a classic Atari commercial. I'm looking for holiday computer commercials, too. You can submit those to the subreddit, and we'll be doing some of those soon. But this one's crazy retro. We're going to go with a good old Atari commercial. Thanks for being here, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Discover a world beyond your wildest dreams. Discover Atari. Pioneers in coin video games like Centipede, Tempest, and Asteroids. They'll challenge you, excite you, test you like never before. Discover the Atari that opened your eyes to the world's most popular home video games like Space Invaders, Missile Command, and Warlords. Discover the Atari that brought you a home computer truly designed for the home. Sophisticated for advanced needs, yet simple enough for your child to use. Compose music, play advanced games, manage your finances, all at the touch of the button. Discover Atari. And discover how far you can go.